a same painting can either cause happiness, joy, sadness, anger, anything. It depends on what the patient's experience were there before coming to the hospital.
Right. Hi guys. When the word hospital comes to your mind, what are the adjectives that you hear? Dull, boring, depressing, institutional? I guess right, isn't it? The studies have shown that such aesthetic unpleasantries do affect patients' health. But the increasing body of research shows that decorating a hospital by a specific type of art does affect the healing process of the patient. A very warm welcome, Dr. Mahajan, and thank you so much for giving us this time. So, to get started with, I have read that art and radiology can be put together. That means a lot of tasks that a radiologist do in terms of perception, observation, and analysis of the visual material overlaps with the visual art. We would like to know your thoughts on this.
Okay, there are two aspects in that. One is the actual images, whatever we are seeing are all images, and mainly they are in grayscale.
Okay.
So color part is less. So whatever images are there, whether it is CT, MR, X-ray, ultrasound, they are all in grayscale. So we need to have a very good contrast. So if you have a basic some knowledge about the contrast, okay, then the images that we give to the patient, the images that we can see becomes better.
Okay.
Secondly, what we say is that a white dot on a white surface will not be visible, but a white dot on a black surface is visible. So that translates into decoding the images also.
Okay.
So in one way,
so that is
a actual diagnostic part of the imagery.
Right.
Second is something which is very much art related, which is not related to a patient as such. Suppose there's a shell or there's a flower. We can take X-rays of that and that can turn into a very good art.
Very true.
So there are two different aspects of it.
Okay.
Secondly, one is the grayscale. Secondly, I would say there are some shapes.
Okay.
So these shapes, say you have a Mickey Mouse. So you know what a Mickey Mouse looks like.
Right.
But there are some diagnoses. Okay, this is a Mickey Mouse kind of a lesion.
Okay.
This is a Scottish dog kind of a lesion.
Right.
So that kind of an image translation, what we see in nature or what we see outside and what is seen on an X-ray or an ultrasound or a CT. So that kind of an image correlation also is there.
So we can say that art and radiology can be put together.
Yeah.
Right. So the next question will be, how do you connect with art? You said that you dabble into painting, stitching, interior. So that is your completely creative side, I must say.
Yeah.
So how do you connect with art?
For me, art has been there a part of my life.
Okay.
Whatever I do, it can be a building that I see, the architecture part of it, or it can be a painting. It can be just an arrangement of few things. So visually, it should aesthetically look good. So that has always been a part of my being, I would say. So wherever I go, that thing comes into my mind.
So you have always been connected
Yes.
with art. Okay. And what are your thoughts on incorporating these art pieces into your clinic or into your house?
It's a part of it. It has to be there.
Okay.
It not only for the patient, but even for the staff and the doctor. it's very useful because something pleasing, something which looks good. It may be wall, it can be a rangoli, it can be a painting, it can be a photograph, it can be a sculptural thing, or it can be a design of the building itself,
Okay.
which is pleasing to the eye,
Mhm.
which calms you, which makes you work better, makes you work positively, and you should feel, staff should feel like going to that place. कि अरे हाँ अरे अच्छी जगह है, मुझे वहाँ पे काम करने के लिए अच्छा लगता है.
Mhm.
And even a patient, when patient is there, should not feel कि अरे क्या hospital is so boring, there's nothing, it's so unexciting. Not unexciting, but it's making me depressed. It should not happen that way. It can be right from, I would say, from the color of the wall, the colors around you, which not only, it may not be something which is in a form, it can be just color also.
Okay. So, you as a doctor, when you visit hospitals, or not only hospitals, even when you are visiting some hotel or lounges, do you? I'm very sure that you must be noticing that. I mean, asking this question itself is not correct because you are dabbling into painting. You have a creative side. So, but still, I would like to ask you that: do you notice these art pieces and what do you feel about it?
Each and every time, every second of it, I am into it. That's the first thing that I
Right.
notice. Even if I go to anyone's place, even if I go to any place, even walking on the road, anything means I would say 24 hours or all my waking hours, I see into something or the other.
Oh, that's so great. So that means you have noticed paintings or artworks or maybe sculpture or installation into the hospital. Now, I would go further and ask you which are the typical places where you see these paintings or this visual art in a hospital,
First and foremost, it will be the reception area.
right?
But that is the place where many people are there at the same time. In bigger hospitals or in a very busy hospital or an OPD, patients are waiting there for quite some time. Patients' relatives are also there. And they have an anxiety before going to see a doctor.
Mhm.
कि अरे what's the problem with me, क्या निकलने वाला है, ये है क्या, वो है क्या, that kind of a thing. And that time, I think if there's some art around,
Mhm.
it will divert their mind. And I mean, something good to look at, especially if there are children.
Right.
For children also, then the children become very fussy when they have to just sit waiting for something.
Yeah.
So if they have something to see, something good to see, which the parents can make them just see how nice it is, what colors are there, can you tell me what colors are there? So that becomes it settles down the patient also.
It calms down.
Yeah,
Yes, it calms
that is
down
one
the
thing. That's a reception area.
Yeah.
Second, I would say is the doctor's OPD or the consulting room itself. There, it can be just what the doctor likes to see, I would say. Because the patient is there, patient will be talking with the doctor.
Yeah.
काम हो गया, they'll come out.
Yeah.
But the doctor is going to be there in the room. And there, I would, my feeling is that there, what something that doctor likes should be there. And third is the corridors. Again, in corridors, something which is there on the wall is preferable rather than something on the floor. Because obviously, in an emergency or in any situation where movement is required, you don't need anything in between.
Very right.
So there, and usually corridors are places where it is slightly dark or it is inside. Corridors, you may not be able to see the nature outside. So if you have something which is related to nature there, it will be pleasing. Lastly, in a patient's room. In patient's room, again, how here the doctor needs something which is pleasing to that person. For a patient, I would say that is something which is pleasing to the patient. It may be anything. Here I would say that suppose there's a painting by Edward Munch, The Scream, or something that Starry Night, Van Gogh's painting.
Right.
Even their masterpieces, for a patient's room, they're not appropriate.
Okay.
Because the colors, the movement of the paints is such that they're a bit disturbing.
The brush
So
strokes.
there, maybe you can have a choice you can give a choice to the patient, ki what would you like, and keep it that way, because everyone's choice might be different.
Yeah.
So that way a hospital can have their own art collection.
Okay, that's a good thing actually, to know that hospitals should have the art collection, so that the art keeps moving into the hospital, into various spaces actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, what was my next question? You have answered half of that actually. That how do these artworks affect patients' mental state?
Lot of it. A same painting can either cause happiness, joy, sadness, anger, anything. It depends what that patient's. Now I'm saying in relation to a patient.
Okay.
It depends on what the patient's experience were there before coming to the hospital.
Right.
So something which is very a portrait kind of a thing may not appeal. But nature is one thing. A good, pleasing nature is something which everyone will like.
Okay.
And is soothing also.
Right.
So for a, I would say for a non-pediatric patient, all these things will work. Some abstracts, good abstract means something with pleasing colors, not very
Pleasing
dark,
colours.
moody colors. For children, again, it's a different thing. For them, even a Donald Duck painting or a Donald Duck, say your decal on the wall also will look very good. Just balloons on the wall, they will like it.
So what we are saying is, what type of artwork should be there, what type of architecture should be there. But what I want to ask you is, when you are visiting the hospitals, do you find this type of artworks there?
Yeah.
For example, you said nature artworks. What type of artworks do you find? Nature, abstract, or portraits?
See, many times it is nature related. It can be just flowers, it can be still lives, good still lives. May again something which is pleasing, not something like Dali's paintings, which are abstract but a bit eerie.
Yeah, yeah.
So landscapes work anywhere. Good,
Okay.
pleasant, sunny landscapes, not the gloomy ones. They work any time. Still lives will do.
Okay.
Then may actually anything good, even a sculpture, a flower arrangement, ikebana, everything will work.
And
should be pleasant.
It should be pleasant. That's right. And what colors do you suggest? What colors should be normally present into the artwork for the patient to have that relief?
Okay, the foremost three colors that come to my mind are blue, green, and yellow.
Okay.
Because they're all which give positivity. Red also gives positivity, but in smaller amount. A full red wall or some painting which has a lot of reds and a lot of blacks might become gloomy. That is what I feel.
Okay.
But blue, green, yellows.
Okay. And I feel red will also increase the anxiety, because red is the color of blood.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
most
That's
dangerous color.
Red in a small amount, just.
Yeah. Okay. So, do you, in your clinical practice, do you happen to use art anywhere? Is it possible?
No, actually, for us, it's an ultrasound clinic where the patient is there only say for 15 minutes or so. So, except for the reception area, this thing there's not much scope in that way.
Okay. But yes, I remember a picture which you sent me the other day. It was from the room of MRI room, right? There was a painting on the ceiling.
Yeah.
That was fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, the patients going for CT scan can have such a good view.
Actually, now for CT scan and especially for MRI. MRI is a lengthy procedure. A patient has to lie down and just stare, and there's a lot of noises of that machine also around you.
Right.
The patient is scared. So seeing something good. Now again, the kind of ceiling art which is there, it's all nature related. Sunny, nice clouds, nice this thing. It's not stormy.
Right.
So again, the selection of art there works. And now this has to be a ceiling art. This is not a wall art.
Exactly, because the patient is
Patient is
lying down. Yeah.
And for MRI, the patient will be there for say half an hour, 1 hour, which is quite a bit of time when you are alone.
True. So when we are saying that these artworks do affect patients' mental stability, do you agree that these artworks also help the staff to, their efficiency, to increase their efficiency?
Yeah, sure. Patients will come and go.
Yes.
Staff is there always.
Right.
And they are seeing so many patients, sometimes birth, sometimes death, sometimes disabilities.
Yeah.
And going through all this takes quite a bit of their energy. So again, their soothing kind of a painting, I would suggest for a staff room or where the nurses are there.
Yeah.
And many times what happens is the nurses, the staff, they're sort of a bit ignored. You have artwork for the consultant, you have artwork at the reception, but these are the people, the ward boys.
Yes.
These are the people who are there and who are doing major work.
Yeah.
So we need something for them also.
Yes. And I think painting also can be a good point of conversation actually.
Yeah.
Right? It can start a conversation. It can trigger a memory. It can start a conversation. So it's always good even to the caregivers when they're talking to the patient. If the patient is not ready to talk, I think they can even give the reference of the painting to make him talk.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Actually, for the staff room, I would suggest that even if the staff can put up their own.
Okay.
It can be a photograph, it can be a painting, it can be their child's drawing.
Yeah.
For 8 hours, 10 hours, they're away from their child. Even if they put a drawing which is made by their child, it will make them feel connected also.
That's such a good thought actually. I think hospitals should, take this into consideration.
Yeah.
That staff should, staff themselves can paint or bring their child's painting. That's really a good thought, I must say. So when you're going to the hospitals, what are the subject matter? You have spoken about nature. Is it only the nature paintings that you have seen up till now, or you have seen some other type of style of painting also there?
Okay, I'll give one example actually. One of my friends, she's an ENT surgeon in Kothur itself. In her consulting room, she's an ENT surgeon.
Okay.
In her consulting room, one of her patient has given her a painting. Now that painting, I will just describe it in short. One of the ear bone is like a pinned with a hole.
Oh,
Basically,
I see.
And that patient has incorporated it so well. It's drawn that actual bone, but it's given it such an aura.
Okay.
It's very appropriate for her clinic.
Very true.
So there are some different kind of paintings which are related to that subject.
Okay. But in the big hospitals?
Big hospitals, there are so many kinds. You can have photographs. Good photographs can be anything. It can be say birds. It can be. I would say better not to have much of fierce wild animals, but something which are calm and soothing. Not to have a snarling tiger or a cobra picture. There is definitely. I wouldn't feel very good with that. But birds, definitely nature, flowers, still lifes, abstracts.
It's really good. So my last question now. What would you like to say about my effort of bringing awareness of having visual art into the hospital? I mean, my series of interviews is about this, about bringing awareness of these artworks.
Definitely. And as said, that you can have a collection of the local artists and this thing and put forth the idea to the hospitals.
Okay.
Hospitals are, they will be seeing to say the technical part, the medical academic part and this thing, but somehow they put the art form a bit on the background.
Yes.
But that's a very much essential part of the therapy. So definitely you can make it a moment.
That's nice. Thank you so much, Dr. Mahajan. Thank you so much for giving us this time and this informal chat.